She likes watching YouTube.
Probably more interesting.
I kinda like it too. I pop my popcorn, sit in my chair. I don't care. Watch YouTube. Tune in. 4:30 today.
That's right. It's 4:30, January the 11th. We're here at our Law Enforcement Committee meeting. I'm gonna go ahead and start the meeting. We're absent one, but we're gonna go ahead and start. We've already taken roll call. I need a motion to approve the agenda. I had something under new business. It's just a briefing about the drug recovery court. It's, just a statement I just wanted to update y'all on, so it's not much, but I wanted to add that to new business.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Where do you want to add?
Also, I want to add, we probably need to vote for chairman. We haven't voted for a new chairman this year, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
So why don't we go ahead and add that?
Yeah, add that.
Before we make
Well-
one motion instead of two.
We'll go ahead and add that under, we'll put it
8A,
before,
any place, it doesn't matter.
yeah, I would think we,
How about 3A?
that sounds great, because it probably needs to be toward the front. Okay, with the amendments, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
We'll take Laura's, and I'll make a second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
I guess that's an aye.
Motion carries. Do we have any public comments? John, Jennifer? Have you all had a chance to look at the previous minutes from our last quarterly meeting? If there's no modifications, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
Okay, do we have any nominations for chairman?
I'll nominate you. You've been doing it.
Have a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you all. I guess.
I start saying, I assume you'll take it. I didn't hear you say. I guess we didn't ask you.
I'll take it, just for y'all, unless one of you want it. We don't have anything under unfinished business. Sheriff,
Okay,
can we
thank
hear
you.
your report, please?
I was going back through the minutes and wanted some of the things to follow up with. You have your reports in front of you. You can see where we're at with our population. We're had a downward trend a little bit from where we were sitting in September. I'm sure as the weather warms up, that may change again. So it's just highs and lows, highs and lows. Does anybody have any questions about the stats?
This is for what month?
Currently,
Okay,
that's today's
Alright.
today's count.
so it's down somewhat from
From
the last
from
report.
September, yes, sir. Which is I guess good for us. It's very manageable. Following up on your minutes from September 20th, the SRO grant, things are going quite well there. We are this week in the process of ordering some equipment and vehicles for our SROs that is based off the state's funding. There's some training aids and safety equipment that we'll be looking at getting out of that. So that's that money that has come from the state is help for salaries and planning monies that otherwise we probably wouldn't be asking the commission or trying to do. So that's working out very well. And there may be possibly, we don't know yet. We will know probably next week. Maybe a little money left that shouldn't be a lot, but it would have to be returned to the state.
So, do you have 7 or 8 or
SROs?
Yes.
We have 12.
12? I forgot.
Yes. We have
Yeah.
12 slots. I've got 11 active. I've got one slot that is open that I've been trying to fill, and we keep running into a medical issue, and now I'm going to have to reevaluate and go on the hunt for one. But it was a secondary SRO. But 10 schools, 12 SROs. I think that's
great.
right.
May I ask a question? What are the requirements for SRO?
The same as a deputy sheriff, Mr. Duncan, yes, sir. And then once they become an SRO, we actually both of our high school SROs are in their basic SRO school this week down at Tullahoma. Tullahoma hosted this week. It's a 40-hour course for their basic, and they go over how to handle school situations and how to decipher between law enforcement and school policy, things of that nature that we have to watch for. But we've come a long ways from when Laura was just one of two.
Yep, that's right.
So we're really happy with the crew that we've got, and everybody seems to be content, and we're going to do some things for them with things that are needed that we haven't been able to do in the past. So we're taking 1 year at a time with this money, because we never, the state legislature may be getting in their budget hearings this week and decide they're going broke, and they cut that out. So, but we're good. We were already there, so we were ahead of the game. So I'm proud of that.
That last school shooting, was it Pennsylvania, wherever?
I believe that's right.
I didn't hear anything about SROs.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we don't have people knocking our doors down wanting to be SROs. So we're at a point across the state. I think the last I heard, Metro was still looking for 70 people to fill those spots, because the regular patrol spots with a lot of these agencies have not been filled, and you kind of got to balance the scales of covering your daily activities on the streets and also covering the schools. But we're very blessed. We're very fortunate that we at least have one in every school and 2 at the high school, and it's my second one that I wanted to do at the middle school, and I had that going, and our candidate for that run into some twice now medical problems.
And you was
But,
able to put one at the call center and actually have him as a roaming
and he's
officer.
yes, that's
So that's
right.
great.
So we do have one at the.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
great.
his office is at the call center, and then he backfills when needed, and because you've only got about 25
Yeah.
We needed that. I'm proud of
there.
that.
Yeah,
and,
that's really great.
And the call center is, I don't have to say this publicly, but is a very safe location with the surrounding employees that are there.
Right.
We've got
The SRO that's just right down.
we've got a SRO there across the Interstate Academy, and it's in close proximity of response. But I know that has been brought up since 18 in that tenure, but with the development of this program, it allows us to have somebody stationed there in quick response, and it also allows that SRO to backfill in spots when somebody else is out. So we're good.
Yeah.
I'm
And
just
That's good
glad
to
that
hear.
we started the SRO program sometime back.
got ahead
Instead
of.
of doing like everybody else, talking about it.
Yeah, well, it's worked out, and as our needs grow, then we will try to study and grow with it as feasible. We have, we've seen where our next 4 vehicles are on the move, headed to the dealership somewhere, so they'll go in line to be outfitted. But I'm happy that we're in pretty good shape with that program, and everything seems to be clicking on with that pretty good. Jail inspection, we're certified. Happy to have that certificate on the wall. We are, as this afternoon, we're having some boiler issues. We're starting to really have some serious maintenance issues with water valves and leaks, and we've got a leak that we've had some roof repairs that we're having to look at. Our roof is separating around the edges, and I think we've had some water come in, and it's coming down in between the walls. And we're trying to diagnose that. Since
Can I
the,
ask you
yes, sir.
about those 4 cars?
Mm-hmm.
Are they gonna be, leased cars, or are they
They're,
buying them?
no, they're in that fleet lease
Okay.
program.
Just wondering.
Yes, sir. And that seems to be working right now. And when that program is, the first wave of that is up, I want us to go back and reevaluate that, and see where we're at, because we may need, you may decide, the commission and budget, y'all as a collective may decide, and we may put a pencil to that, and on to what our interest is and what availabilities of monies are. We'll reevaluate that. So
I'm assuming SROs won't drive near as much as a
no.
patrolman.
No.
Will you rotate them out sometimes?
So what we have in mind for the SROs is, I have found the cheapest little vehicle. It's a cute little vehicle, but
It's not electric.
it's just above electric. But what we've done is we have purchased, we did the PO on it today or yesterday. Was it today? No, it was this morning. So we've been back and forth, but 12 little Ford Maverick trucks. And they were the cheap, and believe it or not, the Ford Sport Bronco just about beat that. And we started to go that route, but with what the dealership's little light package, emergency equipment package, they had to go with that little Maverick deal. And I thought I was going to be ahead of the game on that idea, but Union City, Tennessee, stole my idea. And so they're getting the little Mavericks. There seem to be like, that's what you see for courier services and the parts stores and things of that nature. But there's really a good deal on them. So with completely outfitted, ready to go on the road, they're 20 little 4-door, and I think they're actually all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive, one of the two. But anyway, with the little light package and everything ready to go, turnkey was like right at $29,000.
Oh, wow.
Is that right? That was right. Yeah, I think that's right. $29,000 a piece. So, we pulled the lever on that, and so that is, and we've got a special idea that we're going to do with them when we get them in, and I'm just going to save that for a little surprise. And I think it's going to be a neat deal. But all they need is a vehicle. Every once in a while, they have to transport and go pick up a child or something, and sometimes if they call parents or somebody calls school and the car's broke down, we'll go pick the child up, or if the SRO and a principal or attendance officer needs to go out and do a welfare check.
I like the trucks. I feel like they're a little more practical.
Well, yeah,
Cars.
and the trucks that we have seem to be doing very well. And that was what I liked about number one, the expeditions were a lot easier to get, and a lot of people, why did you get such a big vehicle? My deputies come to me the other day and said, thank you. I've got some pretty big boys.
Yeah.
And when you get over 6 foot tall And you put all that gear on, and you're sitting in a vehicle, 10 to 12 hours a day, having that room. But they're on that truck chassis platform, and you get a heavier braking system, and they seem the fuel mileage is as good or better than the Explorers, and it seems to be working out. And we just don't get complaints. And when I've been involved on cases where you've had to take custody of people, and you couldn't get them in
Yeah.
patrol cars, and that's helped. But yeah, it's a little bigger vehicle, but the Expedition and the Tahoe are the same, in the schematics of the stat or the size, and so that's where we're at. But as we're moving into that deal, we'll need to go back, and when that term of that contract's up, we'll need to reevaluate it and see if we want to go for another round.
Is the price cheaper because these are less expensive vehicles you just ordered? Is the monthly or whatever?
The vehicles that we just ordered are going to be bought and paid for. They're going to belong to us.
That's what I was asking.
Yes,
So it's not a lease.
no, the SRO vehicles are not part of the lease
Okay.
program. That is us, and we've
So it
got
doesn't matter.
we've got that covered, and that's helped with the funding that we've got. Excuse me, from the state.
Did you get them all the same color?
Yeah. So we're going to take advantage of that right now, and those vehicles should give us some longevity. And that will, whatever the vehicles that we have, that SROs have, we're going to, they're the ones that are really, really the hand-me-downs, and because they're going from point A to point B, but they do a lot of school activities. They travel to ball games and school activities and stuff, but they don't really need a big transport type vehicle or police package vehicle. So they're not going to be out stopping cars. They're not going to be out answering calls in a stress fractured environment. So that was the idea and the plan. I just wanted to find something very economical but yet feasible, and that was what we come up with. And I looked at one. Manchester City has one that they have that they use, and I was very impressed with it. And it's just the plain Jane basic, no thrills, no nothing. But it'll be neat when we get done.
So does your SRO have to do ball games and things?
Mhm. Yes, sir.
So they have a long day?
Some long days, and
I guess I thought maybe your deputies would take over.
no, that's part of the SRO.
that
That's part of the
shift.
that's part of the SRO program is those school related activities.
Okay.
Anything school related, they take care of it. We participate a lot. We've started participating last year quite heavily in Tullahoma High School activities, especially the upper grade Tullahoma High School football, basketball, and also some of the middle school stuff. So our guys go over the calendars and they spread out, and we've got some folks that really enjoy going, and they mix it up. So we spread the wealth on that. But I want all of Coffee County, and I want the city of Tullahoma and here both. And if there's some activities, we have the one Westwood. Manchester just has 3 schools, and Tullahoma I think has 8.
That's why I came up with close to 8. I thought the
Yeah.
county was probably pretty close.
Yeah, we have 10 facilities, but
Yeah, and only one school in the city, that Westwood, is the junior high is the only one that really has
yeah.
sporting
So
events.
we're spending time down there and supporting the SRO program that Tullahoma is now involved in, and it works in together. And some of these events are pretty big, and you need that extra help. So I
Especially
know
during football.
Coach Olive and I communicate very well, and he contacts me, and he's always as being the athletic director at Tullahoma, he's very thankful for our support and help, and so we're going to do that, and as long as I can, I'm going to continue to support that. Back to the jail stuff. Since the last time we met, our HVAC service and maintenancing of our HVAC units on top of the jail. We have contracted with Lee Company. Lee Company gave us an offer and a bid for yearly maintenance on all of our HVAC units. That is to come twice a year, change the belts on the units, wash the radiators, so to speak, out on them, and service them and look at them and do all that. It was under $10,000.
Didn't you tell us that Train didn't have anything to do with the
Train was
jail?
not part of
See, I
our.
thought it was, but
The only thing Train did was put some slow water flushes in.
So, do they cover everything maintenance-wise?
Yes, sir.
Even
And
if the
filters.
compressor goes out or whatever, or
No, if it's a compressor,
just-
it's just the
it's just
maintenance
maintenance,
and the inspections.
not repairs?
Right. And unfortunately, like a lot of other things, some of the units, the brand units that are on the jail, the companies don't exist no more. You know, and I had Stroops come at first, and Mr. Stroop was like, I've never heard of this brand. And I said, well, that's just our luck, you know. But anyway, he suggested that it needed to be a bigger company that dealt with the bigger, heavier tonnage units, and the ones that the only one that really wanted to tackle it that was used to being in this area was Lee Company. And so far, they've done us a good job, and they've actually looked at a few things that they're helping us with inside the building. And we're running into things there at the jail with some water leaks, and like I said, we've got a boiler room problem today, and they're the ones that's been able to come into the kitchen and fix some things and that nature. So
Are they from Murfreesboro? Or?
Franklin, the main headquarters is in Franklin,
Okay.
but they've got folks. We actually the HVAC guy lives in Tullahoma, so their Lee Company is spread out all over Middle Tennessee, and they deal with heavy duty.
That's the governor's.
As it is, that's the
Company.
governor's company.
Yeah.
That's right.
I didn't
So
realize that.
yeah, so.
With that cold weather coming next week.
Well, and we're on top of that, and I'm getting texts
Okay.
now
Yeah.
of what is going on, and so we're
Yeah.
we're working on that. But
Good.
to lead up to my point is coming into the budget, we're going. You know, I'm going to have to get with Rick with maintenance, and there's going to be some things that we're going to need to interject in the budget, and maybe some capital projects, kind of overhauling, remodeling, and we got to stay on top of this maintenance. If we don't, this stuff's going to get away with us at the jail, and we're going to get in bad shape. So I want to look at that. The battery backup batteries for all the electronics at the jail. There was a PO issued on that back months ago, and something fell apart with the company on that, but that's rejuvenated today, and that is an expensive endeavor. But those batteries, when they were installed, their stickers was 2013. Well, the jail didn't really get up and go until late 14, early 15. So we had UPS, or is that what you call them, the UPS backup batteries in there. They were kind of old stock that was in place, but they've lasted. Their life expectancy has run out, and so we're going to have to update that. Also, our camera system. Chief Watkins has been taking bids on our camera system at the jail. We're starting to have end of life of those cameras. Of course, the company that installed them and that brand of camera is no longer in business.
And the next one probably won't be
And
10 years.
yeah, they either get bought out, sold out, or they go away with this technology stuff. But we're going to have to be looking to change those cameras out. We've got those, the battery backup and the cameras are a have-to thing.
Yes.
With that, those cameras are what really saves us with liabilities going on. So it's daily activities. Some attorney, some law firm, or even the DA's office is calling in and doing preservations on footage from inside the jail, either from something that's happened in the Sally Port to a jail cell, and yeah. So that's what keeps the checks and balances out there. So we'll be looking at that. I've also asked for our motor pool building, which is the old bus garage down behind the Justice Center. that building was built at the same time the Justice Center opened up in 1982. The building has not been painted or touched since it was built. I've asked volunteer paint. Is generally in all the county business, they're about the only one that'll come and do a bid, but I wanted to see what kind of get a dollar amount of what it would cost to paint the exterior of that building and brighten it up and clean it up, and also the roof. The interior part, that's stuff that we can do in-house and peel away a little bit. We might do a little remodeling for the staff down there for their bathroom. But
They need that.
but we're getting a lot of use out of that every day and doing all of our vehicle maintenance with the fleet that we have and that kind of thing. So I don't want to, that building is still, in good shape, and I don't want to lose it, and I think a little paint on it to help be rust preventative, because
It's not had anything done since
it's not had any, as far as I
1982.
know, it's never been painted since the day it was built. So we want to look at that. I've covered your cameras and looking at issues in the kitchen that we've looked at. We've had to do some sink work in there, and of course we've had to change out the dishwasher out there and work on the griddles. I mean, it's just average wear and tear, and and some leaks, and looking at getting our roof, staying on top of our roof. I don't want to have to do a total roof replacement yet. So I've told them, hey, what can be patched, what can be fixed. Let's patch it and fix it and see where we go from there. But I don't think we're to a point to where we need a total replacement on the roof. But I just want to keep you informed on those issues as we move along and have them on the record that we've talked about them and that kind of thing. And I was trying to think if there was anything else I really wanted to report to you, but if I do, I will. You think of anything else, Miss Jennifer, that I've missed? Okay. And of course, we're going to be, the budget packets will be going out February 1st, and we're
Excited about that.
as always, we're going to add all those projects I've talked about off to the side, because those would be come out of the capital projects, monies or whatever. But staff wise, we're in great shape. I've got 2 gentlemen that are going to be going to the academy in East Tennessee at Blount County the 15th. I'm going to have one in Nashville. We're really staffed up on patrol, and we've hired, and they came out of the jail, which in turn opened up some positions in the jail, and we've hired several this week for the jail. And our staffing, I think, as of today, the forecast is better than it's ever been. So
That's great.
I'm really happy with that, and we're looking forward to the future. And coming into the budget, I'm just going to be at the mercy of the commission with whatever the commission and budget and finance have to offer. We're just going to be thankful. We appreciate the monies that have been provided over the last few years, and I just feel that the commissioners are well aware of all of our situations, and I'm not going to be browbeating you saying we got to have 10% and this and that. All of you can Google what everybody makes around us, and I mean, I don't have to tell you all that, and we've been over and over that many times. So I'm just going to come in hat in hand and say, if it's something you can do, thank you. We appreciate it.
Do you feel good that all your problems, like building problems and the building policy and things like that, I know that time takes its toll on everything, on us as well. So,
Yes.
but that your problems are all related in that area with wear and tear, and not problems with maybe prisoners doing
Well,
things?
Mr. Duncan, we've worked on that. It used to be a lot of it was inmate related. Now, every once in a while, we're still going to have those
Yeah,
issues with the sprinkler heads and whatnot. But we changed the inmates' diets out there, and that seems to have changed their attitudes on tearing our building up. And I want to brag on the inmates. You know, our assault rate is tremendously down, and the injuries are way down, and injuries to officers are way down, and just the conflicts. And medical and dietitian folks got together and said, hey, cut the sugar out.
Yeah.
I never would have, you know, I never would have, and I had, matter of fact, the Old Stone Fort Ranger and his, 3 of his new Rangers, state Rangers came today, and we gave them a tour of the jail, and it sounded like little, I mean, it was just quiet.
My grandmother always told us an idle mind is the devil's workshop.
Well, it
I
is.
imagine they can dream up everything and.
They're still, you know, they still have a lot of ingenuity on things they can do at picking away, but it's not so much that we can't take a little time and effort to fix it and maintain it. And I believe in painting, and we've worked again. You know, it's getting to a point where we're just keep going and doing layers and layers that we're gonna have to go in and do some kind of strip down and have 20 layers on it. But you know, white paint, it builds really well on itself. So, but I like to keep things clean and bright, and it really is. You know, it really is hard. It's hard to do when you're, you know, 350 to 400 people, you know, 24 hours a day.
What about self-help organizations that want to come in, got any of those that are active in there that want to help them do better? I know there's one that I've almost become a part of, and I haven't yet because I was out of commission for a while, but it's a book club in Tulsa.
The Literacy Council.
Yeah, literacy.
Yes, sir. I was actually in that tour today, and I'm going to get a tour with some new law enforcement.
Okay.
And I was in our library, and I noticed that some of our books are worn and ragged, and I'm going to be getting with them and trying to get our library updated. So you know, over time those books just paper, when you're using paperback books in a correctional setting, that they wear down. But I'm gonna get, you know, Miss Dot down there was instrumental in getting us back up and going with that. But I'm going to check back in with them. But we do need to update and kind of purge out and get some new material in
I got
there.
a bunch of stuff I'm getting ready to take her, so.
Okay, well, you know, if it's paperback and it's
Yeah.
not study books on how to be a better criminal, bring them on.
No, this is all good stuff.
But no, yes, to answer your question, Mr. Duncan, I had rather it be just age and wear and tear and usage issues than, you know,
Yeah.
fires being set, and, you know, we're always going to have some nitwit clogging a commode up and trying to flood the cells.
Don't
And,
want to be here and I'm going to take it out on the building.
yeah, and they really don't like. I've had more complaints and whatnot in emails from family members because our commissary the commissary's dry, and the hospital it's hospital food. And I was in court the other day with a gentleman that's been in jail about 2 years, and when we arrested him, he didn't probably weigh $120, and I like to not have recognized him in circuit court the other day. I guarantee he weighs 250. So people, I will keep saying, and medical will back it up. They're not starving, and they're griping and complaining, and they're whining out, you know, to the folks outside or whoever will listen, because it's not Mama's kitchen, and they don't get honey buns and candy bars and sun drops, and you know, I'm
Maybe
sorry.
I'll start advertising out there on the marquee, says come here to lose weight.
It
And you
it
probably get a lot of
it,
people lined up out on the highway
it-
there. A lot of folks want to lose some weight.
it does have a Jenny Craig effect. So, but folks that need to lose weight are losing weight, and folks that needed to gain a little weight because they've been strung out on meth for 10 years are gaining weight. Hey, our blood sugars are still down, our sodium problems are down, and that just saves us a lot of trouble. So it's kind of taken a hold in Tennessee amongst the sheriffs, and a lot of them are looking at that. Now, I've found out sheriffs you know, they're all big and tough, but you know, when grandmas and mamas call and little Johnny's not getting cornbread, homemade cornbread or something, they won't stand strong. But I'm standing strong with what we're doing. So I'll just filter it out. And if you do get some calls from about temperature, so every year, twice a year, spring, fall, and winter, and the changing of the seasons. Now you just think, y'all, it's 50 degrees outside today. Now, a couple of days from now, we're going to have a low of a 4 and a 8. Okay, so
We gotta fix that water line.
we got to you're right, fix those water lines. But the changing of the building, hot, cold. So I had several emails, and they basically come from the same person, just different names because they were all typed identical. So we could read through that. But I don't want nobody laying back there and getting pneumonia and that kind of thing. And we've taken some preventative measures to clog up some air leaks, and we're taking daily readings of temperature, and we've started a temperature logbook to show what the temperatures are, and room temperatures. When you've got 400 people and 50 people per room, some people, you know, I generally like to sleep in a little cooler 68-degree room, but I live with a lady that likes it to be 110. So that's the same issue you have. So we just, you know, we want to keep it 70 to 72 degrees when we can, but when this 8-degree weather hits, now it's going to get down for that building, that concrete, because it's concrete and steel. It's cold and it's hot. We just, the key element to this is try not to come to Coffee County Jail.
Amen.
Okay, so I'm not trying to be crude, not trying to be harsh, but if you're listening to the listening public out here and you want to call the ACLU and Department of Justice and all those folks, go right ahead and tell them to come on down.
That would be some incentive for them not to want to come. here
Well, and if you don't
anyway.
like my food, don't come to jail.
You want to be in control of your life, you take care of it outside.
And everybody, you know,
Bring anybody
that
else.
goes out the door, I'll ask a few of them that are leaving, and I said, well, how were things? Well, everybody's nice, but I don't want to come back,
Amen. That's the message you want to
and
give.
I hope you don't.
Hey, that's the message you want to place in their heart
Right, but
and mind.
we're providing what the law requires, and that's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Good enough.
Any questions? Okay.
Oh, thank you, Sheriff.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Miss Baker?
So this report covers September, October, November, and December of 2023. On an average, our total active client caseload over a 4-month period was 831 active clients. We had 457 new cases. Cases are not clients in our system. We closed out 405 cases. We still had, on average, 32 clients on state probation, meaning they will come to us when they get finished with their state time. We have 2 clients on average on bond conditions, meaning they haven't pled, but they're coming in for drug screens. There were 166 violation of probation warrants that were written over a 4-month period. We resolved 171, so we resolved more than we issued for this 4-month period. There were 443 messages that were left in an attempt to get in touch with clients to get them back in compliance prior to a violation of probation warrant being issued. As well, we sent out 192 letters trying to get people into compliance before we issued those violations. Contact summary, we had 3,440 appointments that were scheduled by probation staff. 499 of those appointments were canceled during this 4-month period by clients calling in to say they're sick or whatever. 520 were a flat-out no-show, no-call. We had 1,635 face-to-face follow-up visits. We had 266 face-to-face intakes. These are first-time appointments, and those are usually an hour long. We had 12 phone intakes. Those are usually reserved for people that are out of state or in a treatment facility that we have to do those phone intakes immediately. We had 181 scheduled phone visits over a 4-month period. Again, those are used for out-of-state, or we'll use those as a reward if they've been keeping their appointments. We'll use those as a reward for them not having to come in. There were 963 non-scheduled phone contacts with clients that we felt that there needed to be something documented that was important. There were 318 phone contacts with therapists, lawyers, or caseworkers, and that number is definitely a lot higher. We don't always document that. We do that in another way. Emails, there were 235 emails sent or returned. Again, that is much, much higher. As far as court probation requirements, these are things that either probation has ordered or the court. Over a 4-month period, there were 138 alcohol and drug evaluations completed. 16 inpatient completed alcohol and drug treatment. 30 clients completed outpatient alcohol and drug treatment. There were 8 that completed batter's intervention, which is a 26-week program. And there were 107 that completed DUI school. I'm not going to finish going over the rest of those. You can see those. The reason I'm bringing this up is you'll see these numbers in another report in the near future that will explain services that's needed for our clients. So you can see if we are referring every single one of these services out except for one, and that's a theft class, and we teach the theft class bi-monthly. So when we refer 138 alcohol and drug evaluations out, there's someone else doing that. When 107 people completed DUI school, that means 107 clients were paying on average $175 per DUI school. Again, these numbers will be presented in a future proposal. We had a probation officer who earned a state award from Titus. She was nominated off of her work and efforts. She is primarily the one that handled the majority of our drug cases, and she was nominated, and she won that award, and it was open to the entire state. That same probation officer retired at the end of December. When I hired her 5 years ago, she told me she was a therapist in Murfreesboro and been a therapist for 19 years. And she said, I'm tired of driving. She said, but you've got me for 5 years if you choose to hire me. I'm being upfront and honest with you. I snatched her up, took her. She's been one of the best employees that we've had, and she retired at the end of December. Our administrative assistant was able to move into that position because she has a 4-year college degree in criminal justice. So that was an easy transition. And our new administrative assistant started yesterday, and she was a former court clerk out of the circuit court. So we were able to grab someone up that had some experience, and we were really fortunate for that. So she started yesterday. We had a Get on the Bus job fair event back in the fall, and that was in conjunction with the Tennessee Department of Workforce Development. They brought a bus up from, I think it was Lawrenceburg or Lewisburg, it was one of the burgs, but they brought just a bus, and some of our clients, that was their appointment for the month, that did not have jobs, and they got on this bus and they helped them fill out job applications, building resume skills, different things. This is about the 3rd time we did this over a period of time, so we try to do things like that every now and then. I had a probation officer to attend a 4-day Stop Domestic Violence training that was offered by the University of Tennessee Law Enforcement Innovation Center. He went through the training, and I have went through the training about 5 years ago. So that's a very intensive training, and it's usually open to police officers, but they allow us to sit in on that training. Our client contacts were down a little bit lower for this 4-month period because we had fall break and we had Christmas break. So those numbers, our contact numbers, were down a little bit due to those vacations. We just started a text program. We are in the 3rd week of that program, and it will cost us around $10 a month, and I can spend $10 a month to help people keep their appointments to not fill up the sheriff's jail.
That's good.
And so, we're about 3 weeks in, and what they'll do is they'll, with our case management system, they will send mass texts out the day before, so all the appointments that were on, that are scheduled for tomorrow, they send out a mass text today at 12 o'clock and says you have an appointment with Coffee County Probation tomorrow. Now, they get a card, but they're gonna get this text message reminder. They, as soon as they send that text message out, within like 15 minutes, they send me a report back that shows me every appointment that was scheduled and if the text message went through or if it failed. So we're 3 weeks in, and we've had lots of attempts, but they change their phone number so much, and they don't call and tell us that they've changed their phone number until they come in to visit with us, and we start asking if your contact information is the same, and then we go into the system and change it. So the goal is about $120 a year is what we'll spend on this text message, but this is something that we're trying. Again, we're being creative, trying to come up with ways to get people to be compliant and show some responsibility. So 3 weeks in, we're hoping the success rate will get a little bit better than that. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Did,
Well, go ahead.
I was gonna ask you, Miss Linda, did she, Bradford figure out? Well,
Not yet,
okay.
not yet.
Well,
Yeah.
You can't
So
talk,
Bradford, is our, local, alcohol and drug treatment. They do a lot of treatment if you have TennCare or private insurance. They are closing down their local office at the end of this month.
Uh-huh.
So they have been doing a lot of our alcohol and drug assessments, which they do those free of charge. But they'll do a lot of our alcohol and drug assessments, and they do them in person. Since COVID, everything's been done by Zoom, but Bradford has agreed since COVID and when they opened up their offices that they would continue to do those in-person alcohol and drug assessments. And that office will be closed at the end of this month, and they're not gonna have a place to do those assessments. So I have been trying to attempt to help them find a place that they would come 1 day a week. So it'd be four days a month that they would come and do those in-person assessments for us. Treatment is still gonna be done by Zoom, it's not in person, and that's not unusual. A lot of our services are done by Zoom. There's some domestic that are done by Zoom, there's some that's not. That's the issue that we're running into. A lot of these facilities and agencies are doing everything by Zoom, and so that's what's gonna happen. So with that, again, that will be information that I'll present here soon, hopefully, that will tie everything in together.
So have you found potentially a place that they could use?
No, not yet.
Is there not some place in the complex that's not being used all the time? Like the community room or?
Well, and the community room was offered. I don't know if that would be the most appropriate place to do those
I
assessments.
understand.
They need, what they reported, honestly, the size of a broom closet with a bathroom, because they will do those drug screens. Worst case scenario, they'll do the, assessments by Zoom, and we'll continue to do the drug screens, which we continue to drug test our people while they're in treatment. If they're in outpatient treatment, the whole time they're in outpatient treatment, we're popping those drug screens. So that's not something new for us, but most facilities in outpatient will call you in ever so often and do a drug screen on you if you're doing your treatment by Zoom. So the drug screening's not something big, but they just need that when they do the first assessment. They like to do a drug screen as a jumping off point. So that's kind of what we're looking at, is just they need something the size of a broom closet, something that's private, because they have to have the privacy laws. They have been looking at other places within the county to see if they can rent a space one day a week, 4 days a month. From my understanding, they're also looking, but the Justice Center's full. I mean, we're just full. The old jail is full, however, I did talk to, Alan Lindley. My understanding, the ambulance is gonna be, the center's gonna be going through some remodeling. So that training room that's over there, we could possibly use that temporarily until the ambulance got in there, but I haven't called and talked to Mr. Bonner because there's steps that goes up to the outside of that building, so it's not ADA accessible. So when we find a place, we've gotta just make sure it's ADA accessible, and that's not. And so it really wouldn't make a lot of sense, and then everything at the old jail is just, I talked to Alan, it's full. There's not any space. So,
Well, hopefully there'll be some commercial space or a doctor's office or
Office.
somebody that would work with them. But it is a
Yeah.
good program, and we've been, Bradford's been out here just down the street from this building for many years, and
many years.
they've packed up and moved to Cookeville in the area. And I don't know, maybe it's because of lack of business from here. I don't know.
That's what I was wondering, why are they moving?
They didn't give us a reason.
Yeah.
They didn't tell us, they just said it was a corporate move.
There was some small office space in the back of this building that Margaret Cunningham was part of that operation. I think it was what, one
The
of,
Drug Coalition.
yeah, the Drug Coalition. I was wondering if the Cisco Drug Coalition is not active now.
Yeah, I don't
That would be available.
know.
what's back
I
there.
think, I think some other department may have taken that
Okay.
area over for
It's
records.
just about the size of what
Yeah.
you guys are talking about broom closet twice, maybe.
There was one other thing that, before I forget it, that I wanted to ask and get advice on of how what this committee's thoughts are. I have not touched any of the vital 99-year records that are at the old jail. I go and I crack the door open and I look in and I shut the door back.
I don't blame you.
It is. So what my game plan was, and I've just sat quietly, but it's made me have to bring this back up again. But the old workhouse, that's been moved over to EMA to turn into a garage or something. But what was to convert that to record storage, but it was what I was going to do. So we've got in the old jail, and I suggest this committee and capital outlay, not necessarily a formal meeting, but just get together one day and let me take you for a tour. It's just getting more and more. We have three vaults that are just boiling over with evidence, and then that's not even getting. So I'm not worried about that right now, so to speak, but these records that we have to keep for 99 years, that they're booking sheets, they're fingerprint cards, they're medical records, and we have to keep those. Miss Jennifer and Chief Watkins and I were talking this week, and that stimulated this conversation. Is like, when are we need to do something. Number one, it's a big fire hazard at the old jail, which is attached to the courthouse and the Justice Center. Number two, I am sure rodents are probably gnawing. And that rec room, if you've never been back there, it is a big room, and it's probably got a 12 or 14 foot ceiling in it. There are banker's boxes stacked. You can't hardly walk through it.
It's full.
It's full, and it makes me cringe when I look at it. But I've worked on stuff in the jail cells where we've got some storage. The clerk's offices and other places have really used that for storage, but it's not really, I would say, certifiable storage, but it's the best thing we've got. But what my plan was is when we were going to start going through and pulling out, and then that little garage, it used to be the old trustee's shack that Alan and them use, and the attic of that thing is full. And as they start moving this stuff around, we're going to have to deal with this, so I'm going to have to start cramming stuff somewhere. But with that being said, we really need to digitize,
Yeah.
and I'm talking probably 100,000 or more files that contain. So let's just say a million or more pieces of paper. Some of that we have to keep, like the fingerprint cards and whatnot, but there's a lot of this that we could scan and digitize and have that we have to keep on file for 99 years, but then some of it we may be able to discard and do away with. That's something that the comptroller's office and I and the critical records folks and all the experts and all that, because it is just a hodgepodge hot mess. But to me, what really bothers me is just the safety concern and integrity of what, it's just a big kindling. I mean, one spark, that old building, some ratting all through a electrical wire, and I mean, I cannot describe it. It is awful.
So Sheriff, playing off of that,
Uh-huh.
I have the old women's cell, that double
Right.
cell.
Yeah.
And you were down there the other day, and you
Last
saw, my husband and I were down there last week, and we spent like 3 hours down there, and we moved I have boxes from 2004.
Yeah.
And I don't know when I can purge those, but at some point, my shelves are full, and they're doing this.
Yeah.
So when you get on that, I probably need a professional shredder. I don't know how long I need to keep my records. Nobody can seem to find that out.
So, but not only is it a problem for me, it's a problem for every department. And now we have historical records down here that we know how to handle that. So what I'm saying is and the same thing could help us, could help Miss Baker, could help Jenny in the clerk's office and whoever. We need to look of setting up shop, hiring, I'd say 2 positions. Now, everybody always says, well, get inmates to do this, do that. Well, I can send inmates to register deeds, or I can send inmates to places like that. But for me and Linda, we have critical information on our papers with Social Security numbers, HIPAA issues, and this and that. So it has to be people through vital background checks, security clearance kind of deal at the local level, so to speak. Now, I can have workhouse inmates help move those files, but to start pulling them apart and doing this and going into the computer, I need advice on what y'all be thinking about this or talking about it. It may be something I need to go to the legislative committee with. I don't know. I generally am always full of hot air and have answers for everything, but.
There'll be a guide somewhere for this, isn't it? You
Well,
think?
there is, and what most places are doing, Mr. Duncan, is just scanning and getting the stuff digitized. Now, I know Miss
Yeah.
Donna did
Has
that,
done a lot of
has
that.
done a lot of that
Yeah.
down there, but we have got records that the chances of us having to go back, and we accidentally every once in a while have to go over there. I don't go, but Miss Warren or Chief Watkins or somebody goes and they kind of know their way around it. I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
Every time somebody calls and asks for something from
Or-
us.
Or we have to
go.
go through and do so to speak, an expungement for somebody that might have happened 30 years ago. And we have to go dig out fingerprint and photo cards, and I mean, it's
I've
just-
been over there before and had to go and look, and I'm telling you, something does need to be done.
I
I'm
don't
telling you,
know.
that's gonna be a major
don't-
job.
Is there some kind
Yes,
of program
yes.
that can be bought where you,
That's a
Yeah,
major
Well,
job.
yes, I mean, we know what we can do with the program, but what I'm saying is we're gonna have to think about, setting up shop in there
Oh, yeah.
with computers and big scanners and
It's gonna be a
somebody's,
major job.
whether it's, we hire some college kids or
Mm-hmm.
if it's an entry program, but not only could they be working on that, it could, I mean, there's just millions of documents in this county that need to be digitize, this is gonna be a long-term
Project.
project program.
And
I'm
they're
talking-
keeping building in the process, right?
In what?
They keep building in the process.
Well, yeah, we're just, everything keeps getting now, we're full at the new jail, we had, that was something that was never planned out, was critical records storage. County, the state of Tennessee has warehouses that are 3 times bigger than this building, just on the Tennessee River.
Wow.
And it's a problem for everybody, but we have to keep this stuff by law, state and federal law. But I want the committee and the commissioners to think about it and, I wanna leave these things in better shape than I found it at some point in time. There's a few things that we've done, but I'm kinda ready to bail off in it because it's one of those things that I wake up and have nightmares about.
Yeah.
And I just don't wanna get that call one day or one night that building is on fire because we've packed it full and some rat is not.
The rat had a match.
And then you've lost everything.
Well, then we've lost the whole building.
Yeah.
It would, it would just blow quickly, cause that will get hot quick. And I'm telling you, there's a whole Northern California redwood forest piled up in little slices in that old jail down there.
I agree. The first thing I probably would do too is get with the comptrollers and see what can be destroyed and what can be kept, and that way we just have
And
a
we
little
would
bit.
have to do that, but in
Uh-huh.
that process, we pretty much know what we have to keep, but there's some pieces of paper that we can scan that can go.
Right.
But fingerprint cards, we have to keep. But we can scan them in, so there would be a little bit of files that we can do away with.
There may be some that you could do.
But what I'm saying is, we've got to get some folks that can scan in and reorganize and distribute into new organized containers and,
For the things you keep, but
For
the
things
things
you
that
keep,
scan
and
can go
then
ahead
try
and
to
be
get it-
destroyed, right?
cause we've got nowhere else to go with it. And, but,
Most everybody I know,
same problem.
including
After it's
the
been
city
scanned,
and
it can be-
everybody else, have tried to use students, part-time and all,
Yeah.
cause it doesn't cost as much,
True.
and it gives them some money.
Yeah, well, at some point in time, if we, I don't, when our next meeting is, but, or if it doesn't, whatever, but I think capital outlay or legislative and this committee, because they're, the sheriff's office, and these are records that have piled up since, 1974 or longer.
I hauled 9 boxes of closed files from 2023. So I have files from 2004, nowhere near as long as what Chad's got, but from 2004 that were not even our files, that were transferred over as part of private probation before it became county probation. But 9 boxes over a 17-year period on average. I don't know if there's any more jail cells when I fill this one jail cell up. We've got boxes stacked on top of each other because I didn't have any room to put, so we went and stacked. And so if I have to get to those old ones, which I've about 2009, 10 is the farthest back that I've had to go, but those are stacked. So to even be able to get to those, we've got to have assistance to be able to get to those files now, because I had to stack them
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
I don't
go
have any
up.
room,
Right.
and they just keep going up.
I'd be
Well-
interested to know how long you have to keep those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But for us, with the medical records and things of that nature and arrest records, some of it's 99 years, some of it's 7 years, so forth. So, there's some things that can be purged. But we
Part
really,
of it's gonna go probably to budget and finance, probably, Donna, I think you use part-time people,
yeah.
cause it doesn't cost as much, no benefits.
Well,
and
and
all
fortunately
that.
for Donna, she had a nice little, family atmosphere setting down there, but when you go into this, it's gonna have to be some folks that are strong-minded and willing to get into the dungeon and roll their sleeves up
And you're gonna know that they did it right, cause if you only did a part job,
Yeah.
you ain't got anything left.
Well, and, you know, I could set them up within that building probably, but, you know, we're gonna have to have some computers and scanners and whatnot. But I can use inmate labor to maybe get
Heaters.
that week's work moved up there to them and try to help them with, you know, the backbreaking things. But when they sit down and they shut the door, then they're in confidentiality issues right there trying
Right.
to. I just wanted us to have that conversation, and it's a conversation that the county has not really wanted to have, but we're going to blow at the seams one of these days, and there's nowhere
It
else.
sounds like soon.
Nowhere else to go, and, we had so many records above the lobby of the Justice Center at one time that the state made them come in, the building was cracking, the floor, the weight they had over, yeah, they made them pull it all out. But anyway, I'd be thinking about that, and let's, if we can, in the next month or two, can we convene up there or something, and we'll just do a walkthrough, and you can kinda see the disaster hurricane that we have ahead of us.
Yeah, I'd like to see it,
And, you know, if it's something going into this budget process that
I would say.
the county wants to do as a whole, but I need to get started on that and get that cleaned up, because it is really unsafe.
To me, it ought to be by department, just that's how it goes through the budget.
Yeah,
Just-
okay.
And let
Well-
each department, they've got more records, this one's got less, whatever,
Right. Well,
go through that
I-
process maybe.
I may, I want you to, I'm one of those go look, touch, feel, smell it, you understand it. And it's hard to grasp it just sitting here in this room, but to go up there and open that door, it'll,
And you never will know who's gonna be in there.
But you know something, we as a nation have, we all have, governments are pretty much the same throughout the state, throughout the country. There ought to be a standard way to do this,
well.
a
I
good
think
way, the best way,
Well, once we get
and we can figure
caught
it out.
up,
Yeah.
we know how to move forward from now, because things that we're doing now are being electronically done.
Yeah.
This is just getting us caught up with things that were not electronically done before, in
And
the
it
last.
goes with, it went through so many steps, some of them were the little fish,
Yeah,
whatever they call them, readers.
yeah, they did a lot of microfiche stuff
Yeah.
back
Let
then.
me say, as a nation,
Wow.
Different processes over the years,
But
and they won't all work the same.
just in my tenure, it's just not been nothing that nobody has ever really cared or thought. It's just like, put it, we'll just stick it in that closet. I mean, when I worked in this building, I know back over here where codes is now, that used to be just the dumping area for this building. And you just shove it to the corner, but it's getting to the point now where critical records recovery, because you've got more and more researchers and more things coming up to where we're having to go dig and find, and it used to not be that way, and now some cases, where folks are getting, relief from charges 40 years ago. And we're having to find that, and
I try to do a lot of,
Wait another 100 years, and they'll all be dead.
well, I guess I could have that, I'll be long, once I'm gone and not doing this job,
Yeah.
it'll be somebody else's problem, but
Like I said,
I
it's
want,
like World War II veterans,
I just,
they'll all be gone.
I just wanna make an effort to make
Yeah.
it better than the way I found it, and organize it and make it safe, because, unless you've had about 10 banker's boxes over your head following it, they can kill you, they're heavy. So-
well, I go out and try to find ancestral things
Right.
on the internet and like that, and if everything, pretty much, we all speak the same language, it's all pretty much recorded the same way, documented and everything, and it's out there in English, and there are a lot of formats, maybe not that many different formats out there, but if we could have a standard way, I'm nationwide, I'm talking nationwide now, if there were a standard way, like microfilming or whatever else, I don't know, But something, there ought to be a standard way to do things to document all this information from a nation back from the very beginning all the way up to now and in the future forever. So I'm just saying there ought to be a way somewhere, somebody, maybe Dwight can invent something like that if it's not already established.
People have already invented it, it's just whether you wanna pay for it or not.
Well, and there you go. You know, it ought to be something that can be duplicated
Well,
if nothing
that-
else.
You know, we
Shouldn't be that expensive.
block and brick and mortar and vehicles and things, that's just, records in this county is one thing that has not really been,
Priority.
no,
Yeah.
and it is important. It's
Everything,
important
yeah.
when you're getting sued, or it's important when you're needing to do an expungement.
That's right.
And I just want us to think about it and,
That's a good thought. I'm glad you
Get-
mentioned
I
that, cause
want
it's
us to
got
get-
me open on a lot
Yeah.
of things.
and that's one of the things that when we was watching Lynn's, strategic planning that really needed to be in Lynn's slideshow the other night, because as our county's gonna grow, and we're gonna, it's just gonna be more and more and more. But anyway, I just, that was the other point I wanted to bring up, Jerry.
For a long time, you had to have a lot of paper records, but I think the states and the federal have loosened up somewhat,
Yeah.
saying you can use certain things
Right.
now, so.
I'd rather have,
Like you're
I'd
talking
rather have a
about,
little
once
stack
you-
of hard drives.
Once you started that process, then you don't have all that
Yeah,
brought back.
no, we're moving forward, that's right.
I get real excited when somebody calls and says, yeah, can you get me something? And I'm like, okay, just please, just January of 2021. Because that's when we
Where I know
went
it's-
electronic,
it's
January of
Yeah,
2021. Anything in the last 2 years, just last week, no, it's before that. So you go and you look through all the boxes and you do a 3-year span. We've got them divided off, marked like 2021, 22, 23, you know, we've got them marked off. But then it's not always according to the date that they pled, it could be the date that they finished. So you're looking at a 3-year time span there.
And that's too much with technology the way it is.
Well,
We need
and the
to,
circuit court clerk would be the next, and I'd say Sheila's office has quite a bit. But, I'm gonna talk with Jeannie moving forward in the budget, but she needs to be looking at it too, cause she's got 4 or 5 of those jail cells down
Really?
there as well.
When y'all figure it out, let me know, cause
Okay.
I've got a,
Would you be interested in volunteering your services?
well,
Ranking and-
listen, I've already got something like that going on right now.
Okay.
The lady that used to record all the black history in Tullahoma,
Yeah,
for the newspaper and everything else, she has all these documents somewhere at her home. She just died not long ago. A good friend of mine went to my church. And I'm trying to get the records now to go through and to be able to
preserve.
preserve them further, you know, to digitize them or whatever. So I'm looking for a method, just like you are, to figure out how to do
I had the
this.
same problem at the utility board.
We all
They had huge minute books, and that they'd kept for all these years. But the problem was, if you wanted to find something, you had to go through all those pages. So I digitized all of them,
Dig it.
and then you get a OCR program that'll let you read. If you just say, I'm looking for a certain date, or a certain name, or whatever,
It'll scan.
it'll pop it up.
be
It
awesome.
sounds like what we need, Dwight.
That's right.
Put you in charge of that, huh?
Well, thank you, I didn't mean to take more time on that.
No, we're glad you told us about it.
Amen. That
Thank
opens
you,
up a
Miss,
lot of thoughts for me,
Baker.
I tell you.
Also, tell Miss Neal congratulations and thank you for her service from our board. We appreciate that.
I will send her a text.
Is that the one that lives in Murfreesboro that retired?
She worked in Murfreesboro, she lives here.
Oh,
Okay, now the one that you said just retired because she didn't want to drive back.
When I hired her 5 years ago, when she came on board with us, she was working in Murfreesboro but had always lived here.
Okay,
And so she's got tired of driving to Murfreesboro.
okay,
so
And
she
so-
hadn't been driving all that time?
No.
She just didn't wanna go longer than
Okay.
retirement?
Yeah, and she told me when we hired her 5
Okay.
years ago, she said, I got 5 years left for retirement. And so I thought I could convince her to stay a little bit longer,
Yeah.
but she deserves, she's just an excellent, excellent employee.
Well, I was thinking maybe she
deserves
lived
that
in,
time.
I was thinking maybe she lived in Murfreesboro,
No.
and I was gonna see if you couldn't talk her into selling a home in Murfreesboro for twice the value. She could buy one here and
Well,
sell a
I
home
need
and then
to,
move to.
do we have
I'm at
anything new with the
Manchester, and
judicial
then move to
commissioners that you
Manchester.
know of? I have nothing to report that I
Hillsborough,
know
Vicksburg,
of. We're fully
Vicksburg.
staffed.
Judicial commissioners seem to be trucking along. I hadn't seen any complaints. There's always somebody over there and they're writing warrants because people are going to jail every day, so somebody's
I
writing
haven't
them.
heard anything new.
But I heard we got 4 full-time and 2 part-time. Is that right?
Yes, we're fully staffed. as
They're
far as I
there.
know.
They're working.
But they've
So,
all
In the
been
budget.
appointed.
I don't know whether they got
yeah, but,
one or not.
We appointed
guess we did.
2 new ones,
We did 2 new
meeting
ones.
before last, so.
So I'm assuming they're full.
Miss Jennifer might be able to get updates. She's across the hall from them.
Yeah, they are full. I couldn't tell you the ladies' names that work nights.
2 ladies.
Yeah, there's 2 ladies.
That was the last
Who we
ones
just
we
got through.
appointed.
So I haven't heard any of the officers complain about their narratives or anything, so I guess everything's going okay.
Under new business, I'll just quickly tell you, I talked to the mayor today about the drug recovery court that they're trying to put into play. When they get going, they'll be meeting with us quarterly at our regular meetings. They don't have a director yet. They have sent in some job descriptions, but it's not been posted. He thinks it should be operational probably within about 45 days. So we may see them at our next meeting. Tentative meeting date is gonna be in April, so I'll let y'all know. April 11th will be when it's supposed to be, but I'll have to see when it gets a little closer, make sure it doesn't conflict with any of our other budget, finance, or whatever's going on at the
Say
time.
11.
April 11th will be the second Thursday. So that'll be our tentative date if nothing changes, or there's not any kind of conflict. Or if we don't have anything new come up in between now and then, so. Do I have a motion for
I'll
adjournment?
make that motion.
Okay, we will adjourn at 5:48.